Hello and welcome to another segment of Interviews That Matter. I'm your host Raj Mehta. Friends, in this segment, we bring those guests who influence our lives. This includes elected officials, policymakers, heads of major organizations, and other dignitaries. It is my sincere hope that the knowledge brought in by these guests will help our community. Friends, we have many entrepreneurs in our community. They are always looking for more business. We are always looking for more business. And there is one place that today's guest will describe that is a must for everyone to explore. His name is Michael Garner. Michael Garner is a Chief Diversity Officer of the MTA. Let's meet Michael. Mr. Garner, welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time today. Really
Got
appreciate it. I know how busy you are, and you have the responsibility that you have helping people like me. So I really appreciate your time today.
Right.
First, we go with your background. Like I know that you have a very nice, very strong background, good background. So let's start with your words that your educational background and your career.
Well, I attended SUNY Buffalo, where I majored in business and minor in economics. I graduated. I started working in the city at a firm called Hubline, and we sold spirits. And then I left there after a year, and I went to NYCHA. That's the housing authority in New York City,
Right.
where I became involved in purchasing. And it was during that time that I really had a special affinity towards assisting and helping minority women-owned businesses. And so after spending 9 years there at NYCHA, I went over to the SCA. The SCA is the New York City School Construction Authority. And it was there that we created a lot of aggressive and innovative MWBE programs that resulted in a record number of contracts being awarded to New York City certified M and WBE firms. And so it was there that we really came up with solutions to historical problems that prevented emerging MWBE firms from entering the marketplace due to those historical barriers: access to capital, access to bonding, access to the right size contract, and training. And so the beauty of the program that we created there that allowed us to award a record number of contracts to minority women-owned firms essentially was a focus that the MTA liked. And so after 9 years at the SCA, the MTA came calling and knocking with a simple mandate: come here and increase contract awards to MW and DB firms. And so basically we had to change the state law because oftentimes you hear agencies say that we would love to do that, but it's in violation of the state law. So we changed the state law.
Okay.
So we got a sponsor in the assembly who that bill was sponsored by Keith L.T. Wright, assemblyman, and John Sampson in the state senate.
Okay.
That bill passed both houses, and it was signed into law. And once the bill was signed into law, we had a strong mandate from our former chairman, Jay Walter. He says, "I want that program to shoot out of a cannon as soon as that bill passed." And so when the bill passed, basically we were ready to coordinate that program in the 6 different operating agencies at the MTA.
Wow.
And the MTA is a very difficult, complex place because it's really 6 different operating agencies in one.
Right.
And so we had to change the contracts, terms, and conditions for all agencies. And the MTA Small Business Mentoring Program is the only program that all agencies adapt to, and so we have a common program for all 6 agencies.
May I ask you, what was that law that was preventing you from doing all these things?
It was a local law. I mean, it was a state law, state finance law,
Okay.
which prevented us from setting aside contracts and pre-qualifying contractors.
Okay.
So we needed to essentially change the state law in order for us to implement the Small Business Mentoring Program.
So SCA, when you were at SCA, you implemented a lot of different things like right sizing the contract and encouraging more minorities to do business with, I mean, those are the kind of same thing you took it to MTA.
Yes. So the beauty of it is that, and once again, that most government agencies and the industry, they focus on what the problems are.
Right.
As opposed to focusing on what the solution should be and creating those solutions and then paying for them. And so that's currently being done right now at two places. It's being done at the SCA and it's being done at the MTA. And the reason why we do it is because we have a selfish motivation. And our motivation is essentially is to create a larger pool of diverse qualified contractors who can bid on our products and services. Once that happens, the more sources you have bidding on your work, there's a downward spiral on pricing. Secondly, as we invest in infrastructure, we're also investing in small business. And once you invest in small businesses, that's where you see your jobs being created. And so for the first time, not only are we awarding a record number of contracts to MWDB firms, but we are creating jobs in those companies as well.
Yeah, so let's rewind back a little bit. Day one, when you walked into MTA, I mean, you have to face a lot of challenges, right? Obviously, the state law was the first one, but then there would be other challenges that you would have faced also in order to increase, because I know that you are a champion of all WMBs, really, and we do appreciate your work, believe me. I mean, when I say this, I say from heart, that we do appreciate your work, and because of you, people like me are in business. Okay, so thank you so much, for that.
You're welcome.
So what were the challenges that you faced?
Day one, I walked in my office and I have a partial view of the Statue of Liberty. And I asked God, I says, God, what have I got myself into? So, but it was great because all of the chairman, Lee Sander, Chairman Jay Walter, and all the chairmans, including the current chairman, put their support behind my staff and I.
Okay.
And so the challenges were getting all of the agencies to adapt to MWDB inclusion and coming up with strategies that will allow us to eradicate the historical barriers to entry and putting a focus on MWDB inclusion in all goods and services that we buy. And so getting that state law changed was a game changer for us, because in construction anyway, the average MWDB contractor only has a history of doing subcontract work.
Right.
So now having the ability to bid to the MTA, which is the largest transportation authority in the country,
right,
these firms now have the ability to bid on prime construction contracts up to $3 million. Game changer. So we've now allowed them to be in control of their own destiny, as opposed to working for a third-party contractor as a subcontractor, waiting 6 months to get paid. We now have given them the ability to be in control of their own destiny, and we pay contractors in 10 days.
10 days?
10 days.
That's record. For MTA to pay in 10 days, that's really great. Yeah. So the office of the chief, you're a chief diversity officer,
yes,
right? Office of diversity. There are different segments. Like you have a MBE certification, you have a DBE certification. Can we go through that? What are the difference between those two?
Yes. So basically, I have staff who certify firms who submit a DBE application, and by policy, once a DBE application has been submitted, we must respond with a decision within 90 days.
In 90 days.
Right. Okay. And then I have a MWDB outreach section, and their main focus and job is to go out to trade shows and meetings and recruit MWDBEs so we can certify them. And then we have a small business mentoring program area in which we manage the amount of contracts that's being awarded out of that program. So this year, for example, in the small business mentoring program, $80 million in contracts are going to be awarded out of that program. And that program is going to build and grow. So next year we are forecast to award $110 million out of that program. My other section is MWDB contract compliance. And so I have 8 managers there, and their main job is to assign MWDB goals on contracts and to monitor and enforce them, to conduct site visits, and to close out the contracts.
So that is going to the prime contractors or subcontractor level.
So those contracts that we award, third-party contracts to major contractors, currently speaking, we are assigning a 30% MWBE goal on our state-funded projects, and 17% on our FTA-funded contracts. And so their main job is to not only apply the appropriate goal, but monitor and enforce the goals as well.
So then, it depends upon the where the money comes from. That's how the
Funding
DBE
source.
or MBE,
Yes.
right? Funding source. So if it is federal money, then it's DBE.
A DBE focus.
DBE focused, and
Right.
then MBE is state focused. Basically.
Yes, it is.
Right.
Right.
And the money comes from federal to state to then it's still DBE.
No. So for our local funded
Right.
projects, it comes to us via Albany. On our federally funded projects, it's come from the FTA via Washington.
Oh, okay. So Federal Transportation Authority.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
From Washington. So if somebody, like normally someone, let's say hypothetically a company wants to start doing business with MTA.
Yes.
Right. And obviously, the process is a little lengthier and paperwork is required. And also, like I know, people who are very successful in doing private business, but they're afraid to do business with government agencies.
Right.
So how can we convince them to join MTA board?
Well, hey, listen, if they can't be convinced of working at the MTA, which our next 5-year capital plan is going to be $34 billion, then I'm not sure what the motivation is going to be. But the MTA is where the action is.
Right.
We are the largest state authority. We service 5,000 miles from Suffolk County all the way up to Newburgh, New York. We buy between $5.5 and $6 billion a year in goods and services, and with a focus on MWDB inclusion. So from the chairman, from the vice chairman, from the whole entire board, from the governor, and from the president, there's a focus now on MWDB inclusion and a focus on job creation within the MWDB communities.
Mentoring program, right? That you mentioned the mentoring program. Now it's obviously someone who wants to get into MTA. Would that be easier way to get in?
Well, yes. So basically, there is a qualification process. So any firm who wants to be admitted and do work in the program, they must go through a qualification process.
Okay.
And the beauty of that is that the pool of contractors who are pre-qualified for this program, they're clean. There's no tax liens, no judgments. There's no long history of unsatisfactory or marginal work. These contractors who are currently working in the program, they're clean, and these are the contractors who banks and surety companies love, because as these emerging firms grow and develop, banks and sureties grow. And so this program, once again, is a opportunity for us to not only award contracts in a cost-effective manner, but to award contracts in an inclusive manner, and inclusive of our emerging MW and DBE firms. Once again, we waive bonding in that we have an internal bond program where we wrap up the contractor with our bond. There's a loan program that's currently being managed by the nation's largest black bank, and that's Carver Federal Savings Bank.
Okay.
So once a firm receives a contract, they can apply for a loan up to $900,000 per contract.
Okay.
We have a training program where we train, a free training program where we train contractors how to do business the MTA way,
Right.
but also train the business principal as to how to become a better business person. And then we have projects, once again, where contractors can bid to us directly on capital construction projects up to $3 million.
So up to $3 million, you can go directly with the MTA, and otherwise you have to be a sub to somebody.
No. So basically, if you have the wherewithal,
Mentoring, I'm talking about.
no. If you have the wherewithal, you can graduate outside of our mentor program, and you can bid on the open market, as long as you have the experience and as long as you have the surety bonding.
So how long is this $3 million keep on going? Is forever?
So for the first 4 years, firms who are admitted into the program,
Right.
they are bidding on projects up to $1 million.
Okay.
After the first 4 years, they can then bid on projects in the Small Business Federal Program and in the Tier 2 program, which allows them to bid on projects up to $3 million.
Okay.
So for 7 years, a firm can bid and work in this program.
So this is like something like an 8A program. Is that federal 8A program? Something like they have a 9-year cycle, you have a 7-year cycle.
Ours is different.
Yeah.
We have created a program where you can walk through the door on day one. You can have access to training, access to bonding assistance, access to capital, and access to hundreds of projects that you can bid on for us. So it's almost like one-stop shopping. Some agency only have those business resources and no contracting opportunities. We have both.
So what, like for example, if someone wants to do it, do they have to go through a website or do they have to call somebody, or how does it work?
So basically on our website, in order to be considered for admittance into our program, if you go to MTA.info, doing business,
Right.
and that's where the pre-qualification application is located.
Okay, that's where you start basically. It's a
Yes.
starting point, and then you get appropriate help at a different time.
Yes, so basically you can submit the application with like all of our documents, and once again within 90 days we will render a decision based upon our vetting process.
Yep. So when you talked about $6 billion, that really caught my eyes, and I'm sure that viewers also kind of now gluing to the TV station. Talk to us about $6 billion, 30%. That is the state goal, but
Right.
you already crossed that goal, in your last year or current year, right? You're 33%?
Right, so currently we're, as of the most recent year, we were at 25% MWBE, but as of April 1st this year, the governor has mandated that
Right.
96 agencies and authorities that we were not going to award less than 30% of our contracts to New York State certified firms. That's the highest in the country.
That's the highest in the country, and that's $1.8 billion of products and services.
Right.
Out of $6 billion.
Right. So here's the beauty of it is,
Yes.
the MTA, we are focused on increased outreach.
Right. Yeah.
So once we meet a firm like yours, we will assist them in getting certified.
Right.
And then every quarter we have a new firm orientation where we bring all of our newly certified firms in.
Okay.
And all of the MTA 6 operating agencies are there. And you have the opportunity to talk to all 6 agencies every quarter and talk about how you can get processed in order to do business at that one agency and all of the upcoming opportunities.
Okay.
Most city and state agencies, they will certify you and they'll leave you into the abyss.
Right.
We certify you and then we bring you in. And we better integrate you into the business processes of each one of the operating agencies.
So basically, this the door opening is that meeting, quarterly
Yes,
meeting.
it is.
There'll be the kind of door opening, and that's when you really talk about you and what you can do, and then follow up with those people,
With
whoever.
phone calls and meetings.
Phone calls and meetings.
Yes. Understand this.
Yeah.
Everything that we do,
Right.
we are looking for MW and DBE opportunities. We are the largest buyers of buses, rail cars, and subways in the country. We're now starting to talk to the manufacturers who are manufacturing our products for us.
Okay.
We're forcing them to open up their process.
Right.
Because for years they've asked for MWDB gold waivers. For the first time in history now, we are saying no. We're telling them that they need to borrow a page from the big 3 automakers. The same way that the big 3 automakers, Chrysler, Ford, and GM, has awarded billions of dollars to minority-owned firms since the late 1960s. We're telling our rolling stock manufacturers that you're going to do the same thing. And so we're starting to see increased opportunities for our certified firms in the manufacturing of our rolling stock, buses, subways, and rail cars. Legal services, the same thing. We recently went out via a RFP, and we brought in 15 minority women-owned law firms and add them to our list of firms who we issue assignments to. We currently went out with a RFP for IT services.
Right.
That's only going to be focused on state certified firms. So we're going to create a all agency list for the agencies to issue short-term assignments to certified firms, IT firms. Also architect and engineering, the same thing. So everything that we do, starting from construction, architect, engineering, legal services, and ITs, there's a focus on MWDB inclusion. And the reason why is that because the chairman and the entire MTA board has said that we want you and your staff to create opportunities for state certified firms. So we are being challenged. And in areas in which there are not enough certified firms, we're being challenged right now in order to build that pool of diverse certified firms.
So we encourage the viewers of this program that please, if they start with this certification process right away.
Yes.
And right away join the bandwagon of $1.8 billion. I mean, who doesn't want that, right? Piece
Exactly.
of it. I mean.
Exactly.
Right. So that's why I think we're going to put the MTA.info on the bottom of the screen, and then they can go there and they can start from the qualification process. Now, the state certification and MTA certification, are they different or they're same, right?
They're different. The state certification, ESD is the only agency that can certify minority women-owned firms in the whole entire state. At the MTA, we have the ability to certify our DBE firms, and the beauty of it is that once you're certified as a DBE by the MTA, you are also certified by other agencies in the state as a certified DBE as well.
Okay, and DBE is a federal certificate?
Yes, it is.
Right, so federal means all over the country?
Yes, it does.
Right, okay. So I have I've been in business for 29 years, right? So I've been hearing a lot of different things, that when you have a prime contractor and they are hiring a MBE, minority or the women-owned subcontractors, and it's sometimes they don't give out the exact whatever they told us to do. How do you tackle that? Do you monitor that? Like, how do you monitor that?
So I have a whole unit that's responsible for assigning the MWDB goals and monitoring those goals on a monthly basis.
On a monthly basis.
On a monthly basis.
Okay.
And we are also on the verge of buying a new software system that's going to allow us to effectively monitor and track MWDB goals assigned versus goals attained. And that new system is being mandated that every state agency and authority are going to use the same software.
Okay, so that means the minority vendor also have to input some information there that I got this, something like that.
Exactly.
That way you can compare it.
So the prime contractor is now going to be required to enter their MWBE payments on a monthly basis.
Okay.
And then the MWDB subcontractors are then going to go into the same system and verify that they got paid that amount.
Good. I think that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I know you are short of time. I mean, do you have any final message for the viewers of this program?
Just the MTA is the best thing going. It's where all the action is going to be. Our new $34 billion capital budget. The mere fact that we purchase between $5.5 and $6 billion a year in goods and services, if you're not doing business at the MTA, it's your fault.
Exactly.
So come in and help us help you expand and grow your business. Yep. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any questions, comments, you can email me at rajmitv@gmail.com. That's again rajmitv@gmail.com. You can watch our prior shows on YouTube at youtube.com/Infosys International. That's again youtube.com/Infosys International. Until next time, have a great week.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.